we go. You ready for this one?
Go for it.
Okay. Fireworks. What are the changes to the fireworks and why?
Yeah, we have
Why?
council. Well, there's a lot of different reasons. What we're trying to do with the fireworks is we get a lot of complaints, in some of our rural areas and some of the city, urban areas. People set off a lot of fireworks. They come up from the city or, their kids are out having fun. And sometimes they're setting it off at all hours of the night, all nights of the week, just because they feel they're in the country, they can do it. So it scares animals, right? It scares people, wakes people up, disturbs people. So we're not trying to take the fun out of fireworks. I love
so you're not the fun suckers.
We're not the Grinch of fireworks, right? We're just trying to sort of meet a bit of a compromise. So we're saying, fireworks are for a reason. And, I'm sorry that you can't set them off 5 days a week. And I'm sorry that you can't set them off at 2 o'clock in the morning, because that does happen.
It does.
And it's annoying, and it's not healthy for people who are trying to sleep, and it's not healthy for pets, because it does terrify a lot of different pets and farm animals, agriculture. So we picked a few weekends, long weekends, that we've said you can do fireworks, and we're going to have a bylaw come back, and it's Canada Day, obviously, Victoria Day, National Indigenous Peoples Day, which is June 21st, Labor Day, and we're also going to have a special permitting process online. So if you're having a wedding in your backyard and you want to have some fireworks at the end, you can go online, fill out a permit. It might not be one of those days, but you can request a special permit and say, because of this special event I'm having, I want permission to set off fireworks, and we'll have staff who will look at it and go, you know what, that makes perfect sense. We have no issues with that. So we're not trying to take the fun out of fireworks. I love sitting in my yard watching fireworks as well. But it doesn't, at certain times of the day, then people will know that, if your animal's afraid of it, put your animal in the basement on a long weekend on Labor Day.
Turn on the white noise. I find
yeah,
white noise
yeah. I mean, I'm also hearing that they're coming out with silent fireworks is now a possibility, which I'm not sure that has the same effect. But so we'll just adjust as we go. But we're just trying to do a little bit of a compromise and be a little bit responsible for people. Not everybody's a fan. There are some issues with that. It's going to be hard to enforce, because it's a big city and, people set off fireworks. But we're hoping most people are very compliant. And if we can just set some guidelines, then we're hoping most people will follow those guidelines.
Just do the right thing.
Just do the right thing. And I think we can
create a good citizen.
Yeah, we can create some fun for everybody with respecting, everybody's rights, not just the people that are setting off the fireworks.
Okay, you ready for another
Was that okay?
question?
Was that a good answer for fireworks?
No.
Just
kidding. Okay, why so many complaints with street sweeping?
Street sweeping this year was a little bit of a struggle for us. We have a couple of units that the city owns that does street sweeping in our urban areas. The original need for street sweeping is to keep the dirt, the sand, debris from the winter out of our gutters, out of our sewers and our gutters. So that's why we always sort of focus on the urban areas first, right? We want to keep that waste out of our sewers and our gutters, because it clogs them up. In the rural areas, what we usually do is we recognize there's sand on the roads out there, but there's ditches and there's different, so it's not the same priority as in an urban area. So we usually contract out to a company that brings in 8 or 10 street sweepers, for a month, and we do most of our rural roads. Well, this spring, what happened is those contractors, number one, we weren't putting out tenders because we were basically shut down for a lot of essential spending only. And this is not a mandated service. This is just something that we offer.
Yes, to make it pretty.
Exactly. And a lot of our contractors weren't doing the work. They were shut down as well. So it got delayed. So we've had quite a few complaints about the lack of street sweeping and the dust because it was a dry spring.
Yes.
And, unfortunately that they did get out later in the summer. We got the contract out, and so they're out doing it now and cleaning up a lot. But for a lot of people, it was delayed on when it usually is, and that created quite a few complaints. So that's where
it's amazing what people notice, eh?
They notice, Yeah, they take it
when it's gone.
And they take it for granted, right? I mean, it's done every year, and there's sand out there, but I know they're going to come by the end of May, and they're going to sweep my street.
Right.
This year it didn't get done till August, so it was, there was some dust, and there was some issues there, and it was unavoidable this year, but hopefully we'll be back on track for next year. So that's why the complaints about street sweeping.
Okay, thank you. Why is council meeting in person if the rest of the meeting is electronic?
Council has chosen we have a big council chambers. It was restructured when we went down to 8 councillors. So we usually have 8 counselors, myself, and about 10 staff people in there, and then we have a gallery for audience. So council did a few electronic meetings at the beginning of the pandemic when everybody was staying home. Once we got back on track, we did a couple of Zoom meetings. It went quite well, but we felt as a council that we could have a better discussion when we're in person, and we have a big enough council chambers that we're able to do that and distance. Just like we're doing here,
yes.
Right? It was a big enough, a lot of council chambers aren't big enough, right? So they can't keep the proper distancing, so they're still doing Zoom meetings or electronic meetings. So what we chose to do is we have council, we have the clerk, and we have the CAO at the back of the room, and we have nobody else in the room. All staff bring their information in on electronic, on Zoom, and any deputations from the public are coming in on Zoom, but council is in the room debating the issues, I'll say face to face, but from a distance. So they sign in, there's a sheet. You have any of these symptoms? They're screened before they come into council chambers. They have to sanitize. We sanitize the workspace. And when they leave, we sanitize the workspace again. So we're very careful. And as of right now, because City Hall is still closed, we're only allowing councillors and some different committees and groups, like our planning committee, our committee of the whole, the police services board is meeting in council chambers as well, because we have it set up to do it safely and properly, and a lot of them will come in when other members come in, volunteers on these boards, they have to wear a mask till they're seated. So we're being very careful about it, but we've just chosen that because we have the space, we've chosen to do that and do it in person as opposed to electronically. And I'm glad we did, because it's working really well.
I want to talk about backyard chickens, but we're running out of time. So just quickly, do you have anything quick you can say about that?
We've got some information coming back from staff, a report. We're going to set some criteria. We've had some requests for backyard chickens. We're going to get a report back on setbacks, on how big a property do you have to have, how many are you allowed, what do other municipalities do. So we're going to get some information back, and we're going to see if we can allow backyard chickens in some of our urban areas. But we'll deal with it when it comes back. It's
when I get mine,
not my number one priority, I'll be very honest with you, but I understand that for some people that local food source, is important, eggs, and teaching kids where eggs come from, and I'm okay with that. Let's get the proper information so we can do it properly.